Hey, it's Heidi. Welcome home. I am so glad that you're here today. And we're going to answer such an important question, which is, can an addict change? By the time you get to this video, it's go time, right? It's important for you to answer this question because likely you need this person to change in order for you to feel like you can even go on in this relationship. Part of you even wonders, should you stay? Should you go? What the hell am I doing here? Why am I putting up with this? Why am I tolerating this? I keep trying everything, nothing's working, and on and on and on. And so now you're here and you're like, all right, well, is it even possible? Can they change? We're going to answer that question today. And of course, as always, this is a video designed for you to get insight into your situation. It's not the gospel. It's not the end all be all. There certainly are unicorns and other circumstances, but I'm giving you my perspective and opinion based upon decades worth of experience, education, direct involvement. I worked inside of a drug and alcohol treatment center for 8 years. I ran and created the family program there, ran all the codependency programming. I have worked with thousands of addicts and hundreds of family members. And so what I share with you is not just an opinion that I have. It's based on what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what I've learned. And so that's the perspective that I'm coming from today. Now, again, I also don't know your loved one. So if you really want that discernment and you want to know for absolute shizzle, then, or for sure, then go over to lovecoachheidi.com and you can schedule a complimentary consultation where we can talk about working together so that I can really get into your dynamic. You can give me all the facts. I can dissect and discern and tell you with absolute clarity exactly what I think about your situation. Okay. All right. So having said all that, let's go ahead and dive in and answer the question, can an addict change? What do you want to change? Change what? That's the first question that you have to really come to terms with because it's such a broad question. What are you trying to change? So I'm going to actually break down the different things you might be trying to change and answer, can they change or not? The first thing you might be wanting to change is using. Can they stop? Can they quit? Can they stop using and change their addiction and put that all behind them? And the answer to that question is, hallelujah, yes, they absolutely can. And the ticket to that is recovery. So if somebody is working a solid recovery plan, absolutely they can stop using, they can get sober, they can put that behind them, put it in the past, move on from the compulsion and the obsession and really heal and decide not to use drugs or alcohol ever again. And we have lots of videos on the readiness for that and what recovery should look like. Also, I have an entire program dedicated to answering every single question there is about recovery, relapse, your part, their part. And when you come into our program called LYFE School, which is Love Yourself First Empowerment School, you get access to that and everything else. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but just know absolutely they can change that behavior. But that's not really, I don't think, what we're asking. I think you know that. Right? Well, that's common sense. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Ding, yeah, I know they can change if they get into recovery. I wanted to know, can they change? Can they change? And I think what you're asking is, can they change their personality? Can they change their behavior? Can they change the lying, the manipulating, the gaslighting, the stealing money, or, whatever it is, the laziness, the self-obsession, the meanness, the numbness? Can they change that? The flat affect? Is this ringing a bell? Am I singing your song? Likely that's kind of the thing that you're wondering. And here's the sad truth about that. Maybe they can change that. What you're asking yourself is, this is a question of nature or nurture. And people are how they are, right? They're born into the world how they are, and they have life experiences that compound or shift the trajectory of their lives based upon the experiences that they've had. And a lot of the behavior of an addict or an alcoholic looks like a narcissist. There's an element of self-obsession. There's an element of lack of empathy. They're inflicting pain. There's gaslighting. There's all these things personality-wise that you're left wondering, well, when they get sober, is that shit gonna go away? Maybe. That's the hard truth, because I don't know if this person before they started using substances had that personality that was blaming, victim mentality, argumentative, condescending, mean, selfish, rude. I don't know how their demeanor was before they started using, because really alcohol just kind of, or drugs just kind of exacerbates the underlying personality, depending upon what drugs they use. Now, certainly some other drugs can create a whole nother personality and a whole nother psychological challenges on top of that, and even take somebody more likely down a road to excavate or unearth their mental illness, right? So there's lots of factors there, but here's what my experience is. People are who they are. If they were a good person before they started using drugs or alcohol, they're going to get back to that good person. If they always had an attitude issue, if they always were condescending, if they always had something not, not desirable qualities, you take away the drugs or alcohol, they're there. And in fact, when you take away the drugs or alcohol, sometimes those personalities that are mean or selfish or dictating or controlling will exacerbate. They will become more obvious and more evident because they were trying to medicate that anger that was underneath of that or whatever. Also, the second question is, are they working on themselves? You can't just get sober. Recovery is not about, well, I'm just going to stop using and magically I'm going to become this amazing human being and a trustworthy person and just a straight shooter and just this warm, loving human. That's really not how this thing works. You get sober so that you can actually fix the things that led you to drink and use in the first place. And 9 times out of 10, after that pink cloud fades away and everybody's so happy because we're in recovery and yay, thank God that's over, it just begins. All right. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you need to know what you're in for in recovery. So many families would come into my family program when I did it live and not virtually how I do now. And they would be like, Heidi, thank you for fixing my loved one. I am just so grateful. And I'm like, honey, we're not fixing anything. All right. We're giving your loved one an opportunity to get sober so they can see and recognize their shit to fix it now themselves. Right. And that's one of the myths is we think like if they get sober, it's going to fix everything. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. I had one father in the family program that was like, well, thank God my son's going to stop smoking the weed because now he's going to be responsible. He's going to get to work. He has so much potential. And the truth was that kid was just really lazy. And he got sober and still wanted daddy to pay for halfway. Didn't want to get a job and all those things. And so he had to learn how to hold boundaries and set the bottom line to inspire his grown-ass child to take some responsibility and start to work on their life. Sobriety isn't not using. Sobriety is creating a life you want to be awake for. All right. It's not just like I'm going to quit using drugs or alcohol. It's like I'm going to design a life that's so awesome that I don't want to fuck it up with drugs or alcohol. People start using drugs and alcohol to medicate a life that's not worth living to them. There's something missing. And so when you take away the drugs or alcohol, there's still the hole. And you start seeing that in a personality. You could take away drugs and alcohol. That's easy, right? Somebody comes into detox, they get it's easy, really. I mean, it takes like 7 days or so, or however long that detox process is, could take longer. Getting off of drugs and alcohol is the easy part. The hard part is detoxing from the behaviors. That can take up to 1 year of somebody in recovery to stop manipulating, stop lying. And that's if they're actively working on a program of recovery. So just because they're not using anymore, those behaviors are not going to change overnight. It's going to take consistent time, consistent effort, getting ministered to or therapized by somebody outside of your family that can, a sponsor, come alongside that person and help them see the personality traits that they want to work on and they want to fix in their relationship challenges. So that's the answer to the second question. But the third question is the most important question about what you're trying to change. And this is the reason that I get to do the work that I do and really help people. I mean, this all is the reason I get to do the work that I do. But many times what we're really asking is, can I change the past? And I know that we know intellectually we cannot change the past, but we expect somebody to get sober and then undo all the damage that they have done. Like they're magically going to be this great person and make up for all the shit they caused, all the pain they inflicted, all the hurt, anxiety, confusion, and rage that has built up in you. We think sobriety will fix all that and change it. And somebody goes off and gets better to treatment. Here's what I've seen in all the years I've been doing this. Alcoholic, addicted husband, goes into treatment, feels brand new, feels A-okay, comes out of treatment, tail wagging, feeling really proud of themselves, woo, right? Feeling really good. And it's like they feel like all is gone. All the past, everything that has happened is like undone because now I'm sober. Dun, da, da, da. And you're going, don't you remember last Christmas? I don't know what planet you're on, but you did a lot of damage here. Do you see the tornado that has come through this house emotionally and ripped our souls from our bodies? Do you see the damage that this has caused? And they're like, but I'm sober now and I really don't want to talk about it. And when you talk about the past, the addict or alcoholic will say, when you talk about the past, it really makes me want to use. And so that was in the past. You got to be in the present moment. I'm sober now. Everything is better. And you're going, but wait, there's more. There's more pain still there. There's more hurt still there. There's still more resentment and all those feelings. Now you want them to fix it, and they're the wrong person because you can't go to the source of the pain to fix the pain. Hear that. You cannot go to the source of your pain to fix your pain. That's why you need outside support. So if they go to treatment and start to get on the recovery train, and they start to work on their behaviors in recovery, you're still left with that world of hurt, the resentment, rebuilding trust again. How do you know if somebody's relapsing? How you're always on guard, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or maybe you're feeling hopeful that the whole thing's going to change radically and you're watching this video and you're going, oh shit, that's not the way this thing works. Well, that's exactly why I've created the programs that I have, the support coaching that I have, the programs that I run, so that I can come alongside of you and inside of our precious, wonderful, loving, smart community of high achievers that have had success in their lives, but this one area evades them. And relationships are the biggest issue. And so if you want that support and are tired of struggling in anonymity and silence because you can't tell your friends what's going on, or the friends you do tell just to give you the advice just to go, and that's not what you want to do. If you want the support and you want to be able to voice what's really going on and get a step above the videos, which I know are life-changing, by the way. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. It's the feedback that I get. I know you're watching these videos and implementing what I'm teaching you, and it's making change in your life. But if you want to go all the way and the deep, 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 and you really want to make permanent change in your own life of what you settle for, what you accept, or what you tolerate, or really getting in tune with your real value, acting as your authentic self, not having to walk on eggshells anymore, constantly worrying about everybody else while you're last on the list and you're running the show while everybody else around you you're in these unbalanced relationships. You just want a true partner, somebody you can rely on and count on, then my program is for you. And I want you to consider letting me come alongside of you. Go over to lovecoachheidi.com to learn more about that. And again, thank you so much for being here and listening to this sermon about change. And I hope that you found it super, super helpful. Leave a comment. It always helps us help more people. It helps these things get seen, and let us know your thoughts. All right. I love you. Take excellent care of yourself, and I'll see you really, really soon. Bye-bye.